Very, very desperate. When you come to Krishna consciousness, real Krishna consciousness, it is to be considered that you are done with material existence, which means you are done with lording over matter. You are done with trying to satisfy the temporary senses. In the Uddhava Gita, which is in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was instructing, just as he instructed Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is instructing Uddhava about the nature of his creation. So nothing is existing outside of Krishna. There is nothing that is non-Krishna. What is non-Krishna, that is not. That is illusion. That is Maya. So everything is existing within God. Mayi sarvam idam protam, just like pearls are strung on a thread. And the material energy is also his energy. Like earth, water, air, and the more subtle energies we describe when we read the Bhagavad Gita. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, he describes that there's a transformation of matter taking place. We have to look at things through Krishna's teaching. You understand? If we look at things through our own mental construct, that is the covered consciousness, then we are looking for victims to exploit within the material energy. You understand? Yeah. Everyone has experience of this. We're looking for something to satisfy the senses. Victim. This is victim, that is victim, for this sense, for that sense. Because the body is made up really of senses. Same body can make up the body of a tree, or a tiger, or a human being. The earth, for example. So Krishna describes to Uddhava that it is a transformation of form. Form. Transformation means the energy is there. And Krishna uses the example of gold. He says gold is only gold. You can take the gold and you can make it into a bracelet. You can make it into a necklace or earrings, but it's only gold. If you melt it, it's gold. Earth, if you make it into a pot, when the pot is broken and pulverized, it's still earth. You understand? Your body, analogous to the pot. It is just made up of earth and other elements like air. Air within the pot, air outside of the pot, is the same air. Breathing in, breathing out. So Krishna is enlightening us to be finished with material existence. He is enlightening Uddhava, and through him, all of us. So the first thing is, what this first shloka will tell us, is the first thing is, it will cleanse the soul attacked by the dirt of mundane desire. That's one of the three things that the first shloka describes. And desperate because Mahadavagni means like a great forest fire. You know, there were so many horrible fires recently in California. And some of the people who were trying to escape from the Paradise Fire, on all sides, there was no place to go. They were burned to death by the fire. There was no place to go. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, you will not be able to escape from this forest fire, this material energy, which is based upon desire. And until the rain cloud will come and put out that fire in the form of the holy name. So the second aspect of this first verse is that the holy name gives liberation, mukti, from matter. it frees one from matter. It has that capacity. Shreya means it is the most valuable thing. It is the element for which we are looking. The Shreya is the ultimate goal of life. And Guru Maharaj described this as the grace of Nitai. The ultimate goal of life is Shreya. And then he says, Chandrika Vitaranam. It is like a expanding moon, not a waning moon, but a waxing moon, getting larger and larger. This is the Sankirtan movement in this age of Kali. It is growing. It is, by the arrangement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is growing. And it is the life of all transcendental knowledge. And as our godbrother was saying a few moments ago, Sarvabhavana, this awakening or realization is not coming from the mental plane. It is coming from the deep plane by revelation. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tesham evanukampartam. Nashayami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhasata. Krishna from within, he destroys all of the ignorance and enlightens you from within. So don't think that you're going to get it from without. You are appealing to the holy name, and the holy name is within you. He is your ever well-wisher, your ever observant witness and sanctioner, dearest friend, you see? And what is the nature of this result? Anandam Buddhivardhana. Anandam means spiritual ecstasy. Spiritual ecstasy. We have no experience of that in this material world. Here in the material world, chapala sukha lava langere, it is like very flickering happiness. In fact, you could say mostly happiness is like a relief, like sex life is a relief. You have some desires and then there's some resolution temporarily and not satisfactory. So there's a little relief, but it's not permanent. And it's not ecstasy that will increase vardhana. The spiritual nature, we are looking for that ananda, but it's not to be found here in the shadow reality. You understand? Remember the vessel transformed into a pot? Krishna saying to Uddhava, why are you putting all of your hopes, your dreams, your desires into this pot of earth and air? This is enlightenment. You have to understand your situation. And knocked senseless by the Ananda. You will not disappear in the spiritual world. But you can become senseless from the ecstasy, the overwhelming ecstasy of being plugged in to Krishna Rasa. You cannot imagine it. You will forget yourself completely. It is not the self-realization fellowship here. This is the Krishna consciousness realization. We are part of Krishna, but as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will describe later, you'll see what that entails. Now, so this increasing ecstasy, it goes on and on and on, and increases more and more, and you will not become satiated by it. You will want more of it, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describes in his verses. And this is the only thing that will give the full satisfaction. Pratipadam Purnamrita Svadhanam. Purnamrita, the full Amrita, eternal, immortal taste that you're looking for, it is there in the holy name. It is there in Krishna. So he says, Sarvatra Snapanam, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So this is the third aspect of the first verse. First, it cleanses the consciousness and mind of all of the dirt and desire accumulated from countless rounds within the cycle of birth and death, within the material world. He gives liberation and relief from this. And then the Shreya, the real fortune, the treasure of love of God. And here Srila Guru Maharaj says, Madhurya Rasa, the intimacy of relationship with God, complete surrender for the pleasure of Krishna without any self-interest for oneself. We're going to delve deeper into this. So when you understand Mahaprabhu's 8 prayers, you'll understand what to expect, at least intellectually, if not deeper. So this is the first verse. And the other thing is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Padam Vijayate. So he is himself declaring victory. He is the supreme controller. He is himself saying, nothing can oppose the Sankirtan. You will be tested. You may even be arrested. But it will not stop the Sankirtan. Okay? Sankirtan Padam Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. So the second verse. Nam Nam Akari Bahoda Nija Sarva Saktish Tatrapita Niyamate Smarane Nakalaha Etadurashi Tabapipa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaivami Drishani Hajuni Nanuragaha. Here the translation, My Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead. In your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity. And therefore, Mahaprabhu has said, you have many names, such as Krishna and Govinda. And by Prabhupada's instruction, we have seen that others may have other names for God. That's okay. Destination may not be Goloka Vrindavan, but other destination can be there, by which you expand yourself. In other words, you could say that just like the super soul is present in your heart, and your heart, and your heart individually, and interacting with you individually, so the holy name has expanded, and you can chant and take shelter of Krishna and associate with Krishna, and you can take shelter and associate with Krishna individually. It is your opportunity to associate with the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Absolute Person. And so he has expanded himself. You have invested all your potencies in these names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls, by liberally teaching your holy names, I am so unfortunate that I commit offense while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. So, first thing is how liberal Mahaprabhu is. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namari Gaura Krishna. This verse by Rupa Goswami, he recognized that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most generous, munificent of all the appearances or avatars of Sri Krishna, because he is giving Mahavana, he's giving the highest to the people who are least qualified in the Kali Yuga. No qualification. Jagai and Madai all. And he is giving that opportunity through the Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name, to achieve the highest benefit. And here also, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he describes how unfortunate. So these are real heartfelt, deep feelings Okay, sometimes people will think, oh, I'm chanting the holy name. I am doing very well. You know, wanting some recognition. But Mahaprabhu, no. He is feeling himself to be so unfortunate. Vipralamba. Feeling of separation from Krishna. Mahaprabhu would say, if I had any love for Krishna, his humility like this, I would not be able to live in a world of relativity. This leads us to the importance of verse 3, which we'll discuss in a moment. How to remember the holy name. What qualities may make you eligible, really, to chant the holy name. There is always the danger of pride. If one feels they have some taste or devotion for the holy name, the acharyas say, you're finished. Isn't it something? If you feel you have some taste, you're finished. But if you feel bereft, as Mahaprabhu is describing here, I am, as Chaitanya Krishna Das Kaviraj would say in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, I am lower than a worm in stool. Such an exalted Vaishnava, recognized by his peers, by the Goswami, by everyone for hundreds and hundreds of years. I am more sinful than Jagai and Lala. This heartfelt feeling of humility. As Srila Guru Maharaj would say, positives repel, but the negative can attract the positive. So this self-abnegation, denial of self, feeling oneself very lowly, very unfortunate. These are real feelings that signify the dawn of the beginning of chanting the holy name, not as the shadow name, but as the real holy name, Shuddhana. Trinadapi sunichena, tarorapi sahishnuna, amanina manadena, kirtaniya sadahari. You could say if there is one verse that Srila Govinda Maharaj brought with him and distributed widely all throughout the world, because he was not feeling that I am the first to tell you this. No, he is feeling that, as Srila Guru Maharaj said, Srila Prabhupada, he blasted a hole, a big tunnel in the Western ego, yes, so that the other Vaishnavas could enter. Yes. And so many, they would say, oh, I have been chanting for 30, 40 years, I am not getting. Where's the hair standing up? Circulation. Where's the ecstasy? So Govinda Maharaj is taking this verse upon his head. In this verse, one who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree. And we know the examples of the tree giving so much and being tortured, cut up, carved on. More tolerant than a tree, who does not expect personal honor, but is always prepared to give respect to others, can very easily, always, sadahari, sada means always, perpetually, eternally, chant the holy name of the Lord. So this humility, it is not foolish humility. It is founded in deep understanding. Our situation is that we are desperate. We are essentially doing everything to commit spiritual suicide, to extinguish our true selves by creating a non-existent false self or false ego. Is it not? But the environment is not our enemy. Srila Sridhar Maharaj would so many times highlight. Harmonize. Just like Gaurapurnima Das Babaji. Babaji is removed, renounced from society. When walking along, sometimes the children in Navadvip would throw rocks at him. They tortured the sadhus. But his thought process was, oh, Krishna, you are very naughty. I'm going to have to inform Yashoda, your mother, about your naughtiness. However, Guru Maharaj, he describes, in qualifying this, that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was a charya, teacher by example, and even he transformed the position of acharya by what is called yukta vairagya. There is false vairagya, palgu vairagya, false renunciation. False renunciation means something which can be utilized for pleasing Krishna, for serving Krishna, you reject it. Because you say, oh, it is material. Guru Maharaj, he accepted even to ride in a car. You've seen the pictures. And before that time, the sadhus weren't riding in cars. There weren't even cars back then, practically speaking. But one Brahmin who was very proud in the Radhakund area, as he relates the story, he criticized that I am Brahmin, I can give my blessings to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das is our Prayojana Guru, the teacher of love of God. And when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur heard this, it was so painful to him. So what he did, he commenced to fast at Radhakund. And he was surrounded by so many on the Parikram entourage, they were all fasting. And then one of the bhaktas from Radhakund, he saw this and he couldn't tolerate it. So he went and he got that Brahmin and he brought him before Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And the Brahmin apologized for his comments. And then they were able to eat. And one of his disciples said, why did you not just tolerate this? He said, if I were a Babaji, I could tolerate, cover my ears and walk away. But I am an acharya. I have to teach by example. So in this way, we can understand that this humility has some qualification. And we could say, for example, Arjuna, he is confronted with having to fight on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. This is humility. His fighting is humility because he's doing so at Krishna's behest. See, so humility is not simply toleration of everything. There is yukta vairagya. There is understanding of what is real renunciation for the choice of serving Krishna and seeing Krishna in everything. And here also, several points are made about the false ego and the position of pratishta, desiring position, to be honored. And that is, for the renunciate, that is a position that is a great obstacle. One should not seek such a position, but rather give honor to all others. And it must not be superficial. It has to be from the heart and has to have a purpose. That is to serve Krishna Nama as the servant of the servant. So to approach the infinite, we must be fully empty. Again, self-abnegation. But it must be complete. Then if we completely withdraw from the egoistic world, we will allow ourselves to be captured by the positive, which is Yoga Maya, Krishna's internal energy, his divine energy, which will engage us in devotional service. The Lord's internal energy. once we assert that we have qualifications, then our difficulties begin. Remember this. Self-interest, like the worm in stool. Remember that example. It is not imitation of humility. We have to feel sincerely that we possess nothing. Everything is His. This is the only qualification for chanting the holy name. So the fourth text. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam ba jagadisha kamaye, mama jannani jannanishware, bhavata bhaktir ahoy tuki tvayi. Mahaprabhu is setting the standard. Na dhanam. I'm not looking for wealth. What need do I, who am a beggar for Krishna's love, need wealth? Najanam, and I am not looking for following, and that following even extends to the family person. Guru Maharaj makes this point. He says, even if you are looking for the creature comforts of having a family, wife, children, husband like this, that also is janam. You're looking for some following. You see? Think about that. Nasundarim. I am not looking to enjoy beautiful man, woman like this. What was it? Blake, he said, truth is beauty and beauty is truth. That's all I know and all I need to know. That kind of foolish mudha poetry, you see, is like that. No, I'm not looking for beauty from this side. No. Kavitam means poetry. And it also represents moksha, or self-extinguishment, which means Brahman realization. Va jagadisha kamaya, and neither I, even though He is the Lord of everything, neither I am looking to be known as the Lord of the universe. I have no such desire. Mama janmani janmanishware. And this transcendence of desire for all forms of mukti, whether one lives on the planet of Krishna, one has the same bodily features as Krishna, you see, other aspects of the 5 qualities of mukti, and certainly not sayuja mukti, which is extinguishment of the personality of the jiva soul by merging into Brahman. Mahaprabhu says, Janmani Janmanishware, birth after birth, Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoy Tuki Toyi, I am simply desiring your causeless devotional service. This means Raga Bhakti coming upon the jiva soul. It is coming spontaneously. It is not by practice. It is coming from the deep side, like the chatak bird. You're only drinking water from the cloud, not taking water from the earth. Very selective. Birth after birth, I want your causeless devotional service. Praying for more service from Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he warns about this business of, because he was a family man, he had 9 children, 9 children. He said 11 children. He said, be careful, you family people. Don't think that you're not susceptible to this business of janam also, this following. No. It's not imitation. We are beggars and we are begging for the highest thing. So, text number 5. Ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam buddho kripaya tavapada pankaja sitidu sadrisham vichintaya. O my Lord, O Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own fruitive activities, material activities, I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nescience. Please now be causelessly merciful to me, consider me to be a particle of dust at your lotus feet. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the purpose of his appearance. That he has come not to give the most unqualified, mere liberation, in Vaikuntha even. No, he is saying, I am worshipping, I am serving Nanda's son, Krishna, in Vrindavan. So here Mahaprabhu has drawn the distinction between all other forms of high spirituality. And he says this very clearly. Patita mam vishame bhavam, I have fallen into this ocean of nescience, forgetfulness, ignorance. Kripaya, you, Tava Kripa, you please be merciful unto me. Pankaja, Pada Pankaja, your lotus feet, make me a particle of dust. So even our acharyas have commented on this, that even though we are jiva soul, we know from the Bhagavad Gita, Mamaya Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are jiva soul, that is our real identity, Vivinangsa, which means an expansion of God, as tiny jiva souls. That is our actual identity, not functional identity, but just identity. But here Mahaprabhu is saying, that's too big a thing for me. I simply want to become a particle of dust, an insignificant particle of dust at your lotus feet. And keep in mind, the lotus feet of Krishna are no different than the shining, beautiful face of Krishna. But the humility of the devotee in approaching Krishna, that I simply want to become a particle of dust, along with all the other particles. Is it? So now having Mahaprabhu describes his representation as simply a particle of dust pleading for his grace. And he is describing the devotional realm of his choosing, which is Goloka Vrindavan. Not Brahman and not Vaikuntha. Text number 6. Nayanam Galadashu Dharaya Bandhanam Gadgada Rudaya Gira Lakar Nichitam Vapukada Tavanama Gruhane Bhavishyati. Translation, my dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down while I chant